that brings us to the Eastern Conference Finals, Jaevon, because the Eastern Conference Finals started last night in New York, and man, what a start it was, because the Pacers were down by 17 points with 6 minutes to go in this game. They were down by 14 with 2 minutes and 51 seconds left in this game. And somehow they came back to not only tie the game and send it to overtime, but they won by 3 points. And I got a couple of crazy statistics when it comes to that. Since 1996-97, teams have trailed by 7+ points in the final 50 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime in the playoffs are 4 and 1,702. The Pacers have 3 of those wins all this season. It's only happened once in 1,700 games before this season, dating back to 96-97. The Pacers have tripled that throughout these playoffs, which is just so crazy. And now, also another stat that's even crazier, because the Pacers were the first to ever do it, is that teams had a record of 0 and 1,414 when they trailed by 9+ points in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime of a playoff game since 1998 entering Wednesday. And as SportsCenter noted, you can now make that 1 in 1,414. It's like Paul Heyman would always say when Brock Lesnar broke the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. He'd say, he is the 1 in 21-1. Well, the Pacers are now the 1 in 1,414. And so a hell of a comeback for the Pacers in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And I want to highlight a comment from earlier from Uncle Manny where he said, "Hello, guys. Some great NBA action, especially last night. Pacers never quit. Attitude is amazing." And so, Toddy, obviously the Knicks took out your Celtics, and the Pacers, they are just chugging along throughout these playoffs. And so what are your thoughts on this series in its entirety, but also on last night's crazy game 1?
Yeah, so I have the Pacers winning the series. I believe it was in 7, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be a very back and forth series. These two teams have a lot of history going back and forth. Dating back to when Reggie Miller was going at it with John Starks, Spike Lee being courtside. They have a lot of history. Just going back into the 90s with, these two Eastern Conference teams. And it's now just been reborn. Even going back to last year, we already mentioned the WWE when the Halliburton 317 and Jalen Brunson getting into it. I don't know. Was that on SmackDown or Raw? Whatever it was on Raw, SmackDown. It was on SmackDown. So obviously was in New York, and they kind of were getting into it. And I think the WWE is selling shirts, got to make a little bit of profit off of this.
Yeah, they sure are. Got to capitalize on everything.
It's pretty cool to see that aspect of it, but for it to be kind of coming into real life, and the Pacers outscored. I heard Van Gundy say on the broadcast they outscored the Knicks 20-6 in the last 2.5 minutes of the game, which was insane. And for the game to, everybody thought it was a game over. First glance, kind of bring the review out. Tyrese Halliburton, he has what, if you guys have seen the 30 for 30, the presence of mind to go and step, not to try and, go for the tie, try and win the game, or to sprint behind the 3-point line and try and win the game. I mean, he's already hit a game winner, once, twice in this playoffs?
Twice. Yeah, because he had one against Cleveland, and then he had the one that sent Milwaukee home.
Yeah, so Halliburton is a very controversial player in the NBA because we all know the list that came out about him being overrated, and his play in this playoff. Now, kind of just going back to the season itself, he didn't overrate that, as Shaun posts for the audio listeners. The shirt, I don't know if this is the shirt that the Pacers are selling.
I don't think
but it says overrate that in there. But I just think what he's been able to do in this playoffs, he may not have been, last night he had 30 and 10. But as far as just being the top scorer, I got to be the number one guy going into everything. I don't think that's Tyrese Halliburton's game. I think he's in control of the entire pace of the game and controls the offense and the team in every which way possible. And I think that is something that you can't put on a stat sheet, but he is indeed a franchise player. And he didn't make All NBA. He didn't make the All-Star team this year. So for him, he probably thought that he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder saying that, okay. And then for the list to kind of come out too, it was all just match made in heaven. Jalen Brunson is still awesome. He had 40 again last night. And he was crazy part is I saw his gambling line that Jalen Brunson was like plus 110 to score 40 points at any point in time in this series. And he did it in game one. So that was something that you could have just kicked your feet up on. And it was primed to happen at some point in time. But Neesmith had 29? Like I don't know if we'll see that again. But I think this Pacers team is built off of they got a lot of guys who can score in the double digits. Pascal Siakam. We've seen Nembhard, who Nembhard has been shooting, I think, north of 40% in the playoffs. But he was a 29% three-point shooter the entire year for the 82 games. But he's upped his play. That's just another example of a guy who ups his play in the playoffs. TJ McConnell. I mean, Obi Toppin. I mean, they're just guys that and then Kev likes to mention Ben Mathurin, a guy that we both do like, who was absent in last year's Eastern Conference playoffs run. And now for them to kind of – I turned the game on with like 29 seconds left. They were down 5. I was like, it's over. Mm-hmm. They don't really have a chance. And little did I know that Neesmith was going to hit a 3, cut the game to, 2 points. And then Cat missed free throws.
I think was it Cat or Anunoby?
I think it was Anunoby, or Cat missed 1 free throw. Neesmith hit the 3. It went to 2 points. Anunoby gets fouled, misses the free throws. That was when Halliburton tried to go for the dagger. And if his foot was 2 sizes smaller, that would have won in an OT. And then I saw him at the press conference when he was saying that, when he did the choke symbol, because everyone thought it was over. Knicks thought it was over. Obviously, the Pacers thought it was over. And then for them to go to the monitor and say, hold on, we got another 5 minutes to play. Imagine if he does that and they end up losing in overtime. That would have been pretty insane. But
so glad he didn't have to waste that celebration.
Yeah, he said he might bring it back. So I am wondering how much of the Knicks played 7 guys last night. They played their starting 5. Actually, I think it was 8. So they played McBride off the bench, Mitchell Robinson, obviously, and Campaign got 10 minutes. That's about it. So
yeah, but that's the Thibodeau special right there.
Tibbs is gonna play his guys. He's gonna ride till the wheels fall off. Whereas the Pacers, I can throw this guy at you. I can throw this other guy. Halliburton can get going at any point in time. So that game was stolen last night from the New York Knicks. Now we'll see if the Knicks bounce back in game 2. But all the momentum kind of the first game definitely sets the tone for the entire series, I would say. But there are chances for teams to come back. I think last night, in the fashion that it happened, was a little bit demoralizing for the Knicks, and especially how crazy that they went after they beat us in the semis. Streets were filing. You got guys doing interviews, people throwing shit at Brian Windhorst. They were just doing a little bit too much to go to the conference finals. So they got to respond for sure, because that city is, like Shaun said, 50 years has been since they won a title in New York. They're starving for a championship. So for them to go back to the conference finals and to lose in the fashion that they're up 14, 2.5 minutes left. Like this is not supposed to happen. Like, there's no way they shouldn't have won. And I know a lot of gamblers who had the Knicks minus 4.5 yesterday, and for them to lose, oh man, I know Kevin was, he had a little some going for last night, but for them to lose last night in the fashion that they did, it's going to replay in that locker room over and over and over again. Like, we can't let this happen. We did it to the Celtics in the past series a couple of times. Can't let that fall back on us. So expect for the Knicks to come out swinging in game 2.
Well, Kevin, what do you think about this series? Because in this series, you ended up picking the Knicks to win game one, just as Jaevon did. And it seemed like a brilliant pick because as I was watching the end of that one, I was thinking to myself, I was like, damn, that Pacers pick for game one didn't look good. But overall for the series, Kevin, you're the only one who picked the Knicks to win this series in 6. I don't know if it's because Tyrese Halliburton's a former Sacramento King and you're bitter about that, or if you actually think the Knicks are going to win this series. But all three, the remaining 3 of us picked the Pacers to win. Toddy said in 7. Alex and I said in 6. And so just what are your thoughts on game one and the series overall, Kevin?
First off, I had my feet up. I said me and Shaun are going to have 43 wins together. I'm here. I finally got over the fucking hump. And then Aaron Nesmith, Reggie Miller 2.0. He scored 17 points in the last 150 seconds.
That's crazy.
That's insane. And I came on here time in and time out. The Pacers go as Tyrese Halliburton goes. He's not going to have the flashy box score numbers. I get it. 31-11 is very flashy. He averaged 18 down the season. He is the model of consistency. He's going to come out there. He's going to get his guys going early. And when it's time for him to shoot that shot, he's going to shoot that shot. Just a little backstory when he hit that step back. Alyssa's in the bathtub, and I go, "What the fuck?" Ah! And I'm ready to go. She goes, "Kevin, whatever." She goes, "You're like, I can't. You have to come watch it." She got out of the tub and come watch it, and she didn't know it was a 2. She goes, "Ah!" I'm like, "Nah, babe, hold on, keep watching this." But he jumped past it. I was like, "Nope, that big toe is a bitch." Ask Kevin Durant,
Bro.
that. For him to do that and go off and do the choking, I'm like, bro, he is that nigga. Excuse my language. And as soon as that shot went in, I hit the group chat. I said, I fucking hate the Sacramento Kings. I hate them.
It all goes back to the Kings.
No matter what he does for the rest of his career, I'm going to hate the Kings for it. If there is a world, Shaun said it, the 3 of you guys are against me. If there's a world where Tyrese Halliburton is in the NBA Finals, Vivek got to move out of Sac. They kicking his door down. They're coming and saying it's gonna be the purge in Sacramento. If there is a world where Tyrese Halliburton wins the NBA Finals, you guys
y'all might celebrate.
The annual purge was committed. It's gonna be Sacramento King fans are gonna lose their mind. And I know Kevin, it always can't come back to the Kings, but God damn it, we drafted him, and he was the only guy who said, I want to be here forever. And we let him walk out the door. But I got to give credit where credit is due. I have been the biggest cat hater my whole life. He's big fur, he's a big cat, but yesterday, he was a big dog. He shot 3 of 15 in this series last game versus Celtics. He hit 4 threes last night. For him to come out there and have 35, Jalen Brunson does what Jalen Brunson does. This team played like the Cleveland Cavaliers did in game 2. They had it. Picture wrapped. You're winning this game. They went on a 17-0 run in the 4th quarter with Jalen Brunson on the bench. I said it's over. There's no way they lose this game. And for some reason, I almost pulled a Toddy and turned it off. I was like, you know what? Let me just watch this shit. Because I didn't pay attention when Reggie Miller did it, and I've been kicking myself. I said, you never know when this is going to happen again. And it happened again. Tyrese Halliburton is that guy. Now, Aaron Nesmith probably never do that shit again. He's probably going to stink it up the rest of the playoffs, but he will be known for 17 and 150 seconds.
He could say he averaged 29 points in the conference finals. We never played the game again.
Never played the game again. But this team has to figure it out. The New York Knicks, you get it from your top 2 guys. It's always one of the other guys. You're doing Toddy mentioned. When you're only playing 7 guys, you need your top 5 to come out there and play time in and time out. And if they're not going to come and be consistent, it's going to be hard. And I'm really happy my pick was wrong, because Tyrese Halliburton would have been dragged through the mud the rest of his career for doing that and losing. So I'm happy it worked out for him, but God damn it. I was so close to being tied for first. I hate doing the grab and putting Shaun first. I hate it. And I was so close. I was like, you know what? We're tied. But Kevin's pitcher's going up here first. God damn it. Nope. 150 seconds. Lost me the game.
Well, I understand your frustration, Kevin, because I've been at the top for quite a long time. I think since the very beginning. And I haven't wanted to boast about it because the second I did it, the second it's going to tank. And now that I'm talking about it, I'm going to probably fall off a cliff and join Toddy there at the bottom, where Toddy's just trying to climb back to 500 at this point. I'm proud of my record standing at 44-21. That means I've picked 2/3 of the games correctly. And so I give myself a little pat on the back for that.